Hello everybody, here we are again with the Literary Ants.
It's us.
Yeah, it's us. Since she doesn't know what to say, I'm going to start today.
Sorry.
So, today we are talking about a book, and this is not advertising. We don't get any money for talking about it. And
No money?
No, sorry, not this time. Maybe next one. The book is Galileo's Daughter. It was published in 1999 and it was written by an amazing scholar, woman whose name is Dava Sobel.
Dava Sobel. And she is the official translator of Galileo's daughter's letters, which are held in the Vatican archive.
Yeah, she left 241 letters, something like that. Yeah.
Prolific lady. Unfortunately, we only have her side of the story. We don't have the answers from her father, possibly because they were destroyed, because he was a hot potato. And
yeah.
He risked going the wrong way with the Inquisition.
Yeah, he was considered one of the most dangerous enemies of the Catholic Church back then in the 17th century. So, a really hot potato. But Kate, tell me, why did you suggest this book?
Because you suggested it. No, that's not why. You wanted me to work. No, because I think it's one of the most exciting books I've read in a long time. It's from the Galileo's daughter's point of view, so we see what it's like to be a woman at that time, a woman's condition, and in this particular case, her condition, because her father had already suspected he was going to be in trouble with the Inquisition because of his views on the heliocentric nature of our universe, which was against the Church's point of view. But we see in the book what it's like to be a woman then, how a woman could actually achieve a very important position in a certain circle. She had to become a nun. Her father protected her by sending her to a convent when she was very, very young.
She was 13 years old when she was sent there.
And her sister was 11, but I think there were two things. On the one hand, he suspected the Inquisition. If the Inquisition caught him, they would have lost their livelihood, so they would have been in serious trouble. And the other thing was that they were both the illegitimate daughters of Galileo's mistress, who was a laundry woman.
A beautiful woman from Venice.
Yes, but not a noble lady. So he could never have married her, and the daughters were born, and they could never have married either because they were bastards, and that actually meant something in those days.
So they were sent to this convent where they had quite an uneventful life, actually, but they, especially Virginia, because this is the one daughter we are referring to now, found her place there somehow. Because among all the activities that they had as nuns, they woke up very early in the morning. They worked
unbelievably early.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning, I read somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they worked very long hours. They grew vegetables, fruits, they baked bread when it was very hot in the summer, for example, for anyone else to do it.
Nobody wanted to bake in the summertime because it was so hot, so they did that.
Yeah, they walked around barefoot. So it was a very, very hard life. But among all this, what I really found amazing is that she has always been looking for a place of her own.
Yes, they shared cells, and the cells in the convent you had to pay for them. It wasn't as if they were free. You didn't just join a nunnery and that was the end of your financial worries. No, your family supported you in the nunnery, and it cost a little bit more to have a room of your own. And she eventually got a room of her own because she needed it. She needed quiet, she needed peace, so she could write and think. And this was not possible with a chatty nun sharing a cell with her. In fact, she complained in several letters of the chattiness of the nun that she had been who was sharing a room with her, a cell with her.
Yeah, because Virginia was a very special girl at that time because she could write, she could read, she was the apothecary of the convent, she was very well read, very well educated, and this is an exception.
She was
Actually.
very practical too. The nunneries, they depended on monies from outside for survival. This is why they baked the bread. They did the nuns did embroidery work. The apothecary, they sold mixtures, potions, and lotions. And then Galileo's daughter, because her father was so wealthy. Galileo was a very wealthy man.
Yeah.
He had several houses. He had several seats in several universities. She asked him for money on a regular basis, and he always sent it because he absolutely adored her. She was his confidant. She recopied his manuscripts for him. She knew what he was thinking about. She understood his thoughts. Probably she shared them, but she wouldn't have been able to say so because she was inside a nunnery. But this correspondence between them, we only have her side of it, but we know what was going on there.
Yeah.
In the relationship, this wonderful relationship between father and daughter.
And I think, well, I had the feeling while I was reading that book that she was a very contemporary woman. I mean, because this searching for her own space, her own, I don't know, silence around her and so on. Well, I had the feeling that this conveys the idea of what a woman should be, and she was that in that specific time, and I find it really startling.
Startling.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think women writers throughout history have always needed their time, their space. Writers need time, they need space, they need silence.
Yeah.
And women, if they are wives, if they don't have a space of their own, well, even being a wife, you can still have a space for your own, but it wasn't considered necessary. But the space of your own, being able to fulfill yourself intellectually in some corner, she certainly had this possibility. And then, of course, the book is interesting because it tells about Galileo, and Virginia, or Suor Celeste.
Sor Maria Celeste.
So, of course, Maria Celeste, don't forget, yes. She has her own thoughts and everything else, and she's preoccupied with being involved in the administration of this nunnery. And then parallel to this, we've got what's happening to Galileo himself. And on the one hand, the scientific discoveries, his lecturing, his talking with his colleagues to people. He loved lecturing, and he loved trapping his enemies. He'd lure them into a conversation and then devastate their arguments.
Yeah. First of all, he used to praise them, and then he destroyed them.
Exactly. Well, anyway, from the point of view of the church, the Inquisition was after him, obviously. But we always think of the church, well, I've always thought of the church as monolithic in supporting the Inquisition, but it was not like that. In fact, the commission that was investigating whether Galileo was heretic or not was split. So half of them knew very well that he was right, whereas the other ones, one or two of them were very much of the opinion that he was heretical because the sun did not move. We moved around the sun. No, the sun didn't move. We moved around it, the opposite.
Be careful.
Be careful. Oh my gosh, I'm heretic.
Yeah.
And then we've got the connection with the 30 Years' War.
Oh yes, don't forget that.
Which is where this all springs from, and how we're bringing that into this larger context.
Because we were thinking that this book is the ideal spin-off of that period, because we presented this period as a wartime, and now we have the possibility to give you another point of view, another perspective, because Italy, for example, at that time was not a battlefield in comparison to Germany or Central and Northern Europe. and so you can have another way of conceiving this period, which is quite interesting because it was a period also of discoveries and of scientific development and so on. So
very much so. But from a religious point of view, it was the Protestants and the Catholics were fighting for the souls of Europe. And the Protestants were actually doing very, very well. So this didn't go down terribly well with the church. So the church dignitaries saw Galileo as as another thorn in the flesh of the church, because with the heresies that were gaining strength, the heresies, the Protestants who were gaining strength in Europe, Galileo was just another one, and he was homegrown. They certainly didn't want that. So this heresy had to be rooted out for political reasons.
Yeah, so maybe just another kind of war.
Just another kind of war.
Okay. Kit, coffee's ready.
Then let's get it.
Ciao.